Please be seated. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Harold Paz, Dean of the College of Medicine, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to Penn State as we celebrate the 2007 White Coat Ceremony. Today, we induct 254 extraordinary individuals into our College of Medicine as they begin their exciting journey to become physicians. These 77 men and 77 women come from 30 different states and 15 countries with dozens of undergraduate majors and a wealth of diverse life experiences. Yet, they were all selected from over 6,000 applicants for one reason: our belief that they will honor our profession as outstanding physicians dedicated in service to their patients. This afternoon, we celebrate these talented and gifted individuals and remind them of our commitment to humanism and professionalism and to the importance of lifelong learning. These are lessons that they will carry forward throughout their medical education. I thank you, their parents, family, and friends, for your support as they arrive here today and throughout their medical education and future careers. And of course, I thank you all for joining us on this glorious day. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Richard Simons, our Vice Dean for Educational Affairs.
Thank you, Dr. Paz, and let me add my welcome to all of you, especially our first-year medical students, their families, and special guests. This is our 12th annual White Coat Ceremony here at the Penn State College of Medicine. Our purpose today is fourfold. First, we celebrate the accomplishments and achievements of the women and men who comprise our entering class. Second, we bear witness to each member of our newest class as they don their white coats and profess the oath of Hippocratic, both symbolic of entering the profession of medicine with all of its duties, responsibilities, and rewards. Third, we emphasize the importance we place on duty, altruism, trust, and humanism in the practice of medicine and in the preparation of the next generation of physicians. And fourth, when the formal ceremony is completed, we celebrate again at the reception next door with all who gathered here today. In just a little while, I will be introducing each member of the new class as they come forward with their new coats. As you heard, this is the largest class in the College of Medicine, 154, and we are indeed proud of these accomplishments and look forward to working with them in the classroom, the laboratories, and the hospital wards. The presence of our medical students is what it makes it exciting to come to work each day. And although our medical center has 4 major missions: patient care, medical scientific research, community service, and education, this institution was really founded for the College of Medicine. This marks the 40th year of the anniversary of the College of Medicine. In honor of this special occasion, our new medical students have received a special pin commemorating the 40th anniversary of the College of Medicine. And today, sitting in the front row, we are honored to have one member of the first medical school class, Dr. Edward Martin, and I would like him to rise, and let's give him an applause. Dr. Martin, thanks for coming. And we also have 3 founding chairs in the College of Medicine. Dr. Max Lang, who is the founding chair of the Department of Comparative Medicine. Thank you. Dr. Graham Jeffries, the founding chair of the Department of Medicine. And Dr. Elliot Vassell, founding chair of the Department of Pharmacology. Before I introduce our faculty speaker, I would like to give you some information about these new students and share some insights about what medical students think about our healthcare system. These 154 students, as you heard, represent 30 states, 8 foreign countries. The most frequently represented states are Pennsylvania, followed by California, New Jersey, New York, and Maryland. But I noticed a lot of students from Utah as well. The class has 77 women and 77 men. Well, what do medical students today think about the state of health care? In a recent survey of 1,000 medical students entitled Future Physicians of America, 53% of students stated their greatest concern about becoming a physician was balancing work and personal life. 29% that stated that being a good physician was their greatest concern. Smaller number of students cited paying off student loans, handling administrative issues, facing malpractice suits. When asked about the greatest challenge facing the healthcare system, 45% of students cited uninsured patients and problems with access, while 36% pointed to restrictions by managed care, 35% about declining reimbursement, and 34% cited not spending enough time with patients. The majority of students believe that we should invest more in information technology to create the electronic medical records, and by the way, we've done that at this institution. 73% of our current medical students believe that healthcare reform will be a major factor in the next year's presidential race. So what does this mean about the future generation of medical students and physicians? Here's my take on this. I'm particularly pleased that medical students today are concerned about the welfare of patients, their ability to practice medicine in a healthcare system that is safe and accessible, and at the same time want a life balanced with work and personal issues such as spending time with family, friends, recreation, and spiritual matters. This is reassuring to me, not only as an educator, but also as someone who will probably receive medical care from these students sitting here. I would like to now introduce our faculty speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Ted Ballard. Dr. Ballard was born in Boston, Massachusetts, but grew up in the Poconos in northeastern Pennsylvania. After graduating from Muhlenberg College, he attended the Temple University School of Medicine and Dentistry and graduated with a Doctor of Dental Surgery degree in 1983. He practiced dentistry in New Jersey and central Pennsylvania, actually right here in Hershey, but then decided that really his true goal was to practice medicine. And so he applied to this College of Medicine, and fortunately for us, he was accepted and enrolled here at the Penn State College of Medicine. During medical school, he was elected to the Alpha Omega Honor Society and received the Student Humanitarian Award. Following graduation from medical school, Dr. Ballard completed his residency here in internal medicine and then actually served as my chief resident when I was a program director, and then stayed on faculty. From the beginning of his career as a faculty member, Dr. Ballard has excelled as a physician and educator. He has been the recipient of numerous teaching awards by students and residents and has been recognized in the publication, The Best Doctors of America. He currently serves as a director of the Internal Medicine Residency Training Program, and our first-year students will have extensive contact with Dr. Ballard during your Structural Masons of Medical Practice course, which is a gross anatomy, as he provides many clinical correlations that really spice up Dr. Zagon's lectures. Dr. Zagon is our director of the gross anatomy course, and he's sitting in the back row, but he'll get center stage next week. Dr. Ballard also writes questions for the United States Medical Licensing Exam and serves on step 1 of the Gross Anatomy Test Committee for the National Board. The reason we're inviting Dr. Ballard to speak today was because of his instrumental role in founding the Bethesda Mission Medical Clinic in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which provides medical care for the homeless in Harrisburg. This weekly clinic is now attended by our medical students and faculty who volunteer their time to make sure that patients who would otherwise not receive medical care get this care. Dr. Ballard received the 2002 Service Above Self Award from the Rotary Club in Harrisburg for exemplary volunteer service to the community. Having volunteered at the Bethesda Mission, I can say that this is one of the most fulfilling activities as a faculty member. More importantly, the Bethesda Mission is an eye-opening experience for our students who early on in their careers learn to appreciate the value for caring for those who are less fortunate. All of this would not have been possible for Dr. Ballard's commitment to this endeavor, so please join me in welcoming Dr. Ted Ballard as this year's faculty speaker for a white coat ceremony.
Thank you, Dean Simons. I'm not sure I can top that, but I think maybe I'll give it a shot here. Dean Paz, distinguished faculty, friends, significant others, and class of. Thank you. You're not going to do very well at football games like that. I really thank you for this opportunity to say a few remarks to the folks who are about to undertake the most productive times in their life. I want to one-up Dr. Simons and tell him about a survey that came from the American Association of Medical Colleges in 1976. They examined the satisfaction rate of physicians with their career choices, and at that time, 95% were satisfied with being, quote, a doctor. 86% felt they were happier in their work compared to their colleagues in other professions, and 42% noted that they enjoyed their work more than their leisure time. I want to know how many of them are still married. Some 30 years later, this study was basically repeated, and now only 75% of physicians were satisfied with being a doctor. One of the main reasons given for this greater degree of dissatisfaction was their inability to, quote, achieve an acceptable work-life balance, end of quote. In the past year, every newspaper, every journal, every publication has run multiple articles editorializing on the rising cost of health care and the rising number of uninsured in this country. It is the focus of our medical legal system, our businesses, our insurance industry, and practically every elected official. Profession that's less satisfying, becoming more cost ineffective, and covering fewer and fewer Americans. So why did you choose the medical profession? Well, hopefully I can give you some answers. As you embark on your undergraduate medical education, I am not going to be able to give you all the secrets how to organize your daily routine in medical school, how to organize your personal lives in order to make them more fulfilling, and nor am I going to fix the healthcare system in 10 minutes. But I do feel I can give you some advice on what I believe is necessary to provide balance in your medical careers, a sense of real satisfaction in the care that you provide, and at the same time become part of the solution to our healthcare woes. I'm considered an academic general internal medicine physician. It's a mouthful. In addition to maintaining a practice on my own patients, I see patients in the hospital. And I am privileged to teach and train medical students and residents on a daily basis. No question is truly what motivates me to improve, update, and refine my skills. But that being said, early on in my undergraduate medical education, I realized that these welcomed responsibilities weren't going to be enough. And I needed to do more as a physician. Now, try to sell that one to a family that already says you have too much on your plate, but I knew I wanted to contribute more to the profession and to society. The summer that I entered my third year of clerkship here at the Penn State College of Medicine, I was approached by one of our senior residents and asked to organize a list of volunteers from the College of Medicine that would go over to Harrisburg and provide care to the underserved. A medical clinic, as Dr. Simons had stated, was begun at the Bethesda Mission to provide care to indigent patients of the central Pennsylvania area. The goal at that time was to help to organize and provide care to what they call the guests at Bethesda Mission. So what is Bethesda Mission? It is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to reach out a helping hand to the men and women on the streets, providing them with food, shelter, clothing, and fellowship. Although there are Christian beliefs embedded in the programs, the mission serves all walks of life, no matter what religion, race, color, or sexual preference. The ultimate goal? Have the guests emerge as productive, capable, mature adults. Now, these guests arrive as recovering alcoholics, drug addicts, men recently released from prison, men recently dismissed from their jobs, men who have lost their homes and or families for various reasons. Yet all of them had two things in common: the lack of health insurance and therefore a lack of access to affordable health care. We started small that year, asking for volunteers to sign up to come to our Tuesday night clinic. We showed up with a supervising physician who was one of our faculty members in the Department of Medicine and various numbers of medical students and residents. The equipment was sparse. The only nurses we had were volunteers, and as a result, there was no continuity of care for these patients after we left. What we did was we basically stamped out acute medical problems and left it for those in the next week to follow up. But more importantly, however, we started to make a difference. We were providing care to a population that would otherwise receive no preventive services, nor would they seek any care for acute medical problems unless they became so seriously ill that they would go to one of the emergency departments at the local hospitals. As a result, they contracted preventable diseases or suffered the complications of disease processes due to a lack of access to care. We were able to establish some degree of organization during our time, and as a result, we received more volunteers, more donations to the clinic, more donations of medical equipment and medications. We had a full-time / part-time nurse that was hired by the mission, and I say that because there is no such thing as a part-time nurse at the mission. And the clinic became a regular part of the internal medicine rotations for students and residents at the Penn State College of Medicine and the Milton S. Hershey Medical Center. Now, we've continued to expand and refine our care at the mission over the years, but let me fast forward to the year 2000. This, I think, you'll find very relevant. It was during that year that 3 medical students in the first-year class decided they wanted to expand the care to the underserved in Pennsylvania. Why? Were they bored? Were they overly enthusiastic? Or were they just crazy? I mean, come on, this is the first year of medical school. Why did they need something else to do? Well, they weren't bored, they weren't crazy, but they were very enthusiastic. And each one had a history of delivering medical care to the underserved in this country or outside of the United States, and had derived a tremendous amount of satisfaction from their interactions. Now, I was pretty skeptical about this endeavor because as medical students, you don't understand that, after the first 2 years, you pretty much all scatter. In the 3rd and 4th years, you're more focused on your clinical rotations, and therefore a lot of things you start in the first 2 years seem to fade away. So I was fairly sure that this organization would thrive for a few years and then fade away. Boy, was I wrong. Lion Care became the name of the organization, and that to this day continues to be a tremendous part of not only our College of Medicine, but also the central Pennsylvania community. The Lion, as you'll come to know, stands for the Penn State Nittany Lion. For those not aware of that, you will learn the Lion and the Roar. For those from other Big Ten schools, you have a new allegiance here, so I don't want to hear about that. And the care came from compassionate health care, advocacy, renewal, and education. The students directed their efforts now, as you probably alluded to, we were basically seeing men early on. They now directed their efforts to the indigent and underserved women, providing free comprehensive women's care, preventive services, screening, acute care, and education. But that wasn't enough either, so they branched out to a second clinic directed at providing complete history and physical exams to those guests entering the mission for the first time. So, why is this important to you? And how does this address the concerns that I mentioned a few minutes ago? All you have to do is go to the mission. Watch the enthusiasm on the face of the students and on their patients, and then listen to the students at the end of the night when they describe how much satisfaction they feel. They earn no fee, they don't get to put this on their CV anymore, and they expect no reward. But what they get is they receive the greatest award of all, which is thanks from the hearts of all of these patients. Now, instead of having to recruit volunteers, we now sometimes have to limit them because of the number of students that sign up each night. They give up valuable study time, time with their friends, time with their families, or time just to kick back and relax to go over and take care of these patients. I can promise you that the students who have been involved in this organization have already begun to find a great sense of satisfaction and balance in their chosen profession. So how does this fit in with our healthcare woes? Well, just imagine if half of the 35 to 45 patients that are seen in the clinics each week were to go to the emergency room for their care. Now remember, many of these problems that the guests have could probably be managed in about a 5-minute office visit, but instead, they would be seeking care in one of the most costly, not to mention overcrowded forms of care in our healthcare system. Or, imagine if a simple problem was neglected, and now it presents in the emergency room with a more complex problem that now requires evaluation and hospitalization. Not to mention some of the specialized care that would result. Or, imagine this, a student spends time educating a female patient on the importance of abstinence from drug and alcohol during pregnancy and prevents one child from being born with a disability of addiction or deformity. Now, do you see my point? We have not been able to quantify the number of dollars that are saved by our efforts, but I can tell you that the emergency departments and the administrations of the local hospitals have always commented to us how pleased we are to have our clinics open. In return, they've responded by accommodating our guests for appropriate medical emergencies whenever we call. We have had physicians in our own medical center, as well as the community hospitals, provide subspecialty care to these patients free of charge because they've learned about our efforts as well as just wanting to lend a hand. It truly is contagious. Now, I'll bet many of you have volunteered in various roles leading up to medical school. I'm sure some of you have volunteered through your church, your school, your local organizations, or maybe just because it looked good on your CV. Well, that's fine. But your volunteerism shouldn't stop when you begin medical school in a few days. And if you don't make the effort, you will never know what it's like to experience the satisfaction of providing care for those who otherwise have no access to care. You are about to begin to acquire skills that will go far beyond your previous abilities to volunteer your services. I'm optimistic. I was standing in the hall outside the Student Affairs office yesterday, waiting for the elevator. I know, I should take the steps. But I was watching 3 students from this class looking at the activities board and writing down the contact numbers of several societies and clubs that they wanted to join. Unbelievable. You haven't even experienced the gross anatomy lab yet, and you're already thinking about volunteering. This has been the Penn State College of Medicine tradition: involvement in the community and volunteerism. And I challenge each and every one of you to become involved, volunteer, and find the satisfaction that is beyond all the other trials and tribulations and rewards of being a physician. I believe then you will find balance in your life and professional career, even at such an early stage as a medical student. In addition, we can begin to make some headway into solving our national health care concerns, particularly for the underserved. I've had the privilege of serving as the medical director for Bethesda Mission for over 10 years. I'd like to take credit for all that we accomplished, but I leave that to the students, the residents, the faculty, and the nurses who volunteer their time, and my secretary, Debbie Stevens, who keeps us all organized and on track. I guess I should tell you why I've maintained my affiliation with the mission all of these years. I believe a story about one patient tells it all. I was a first-year attending physician at Hershey, and I was volunteering on Tuesday night. At that time, the clinic was on the 3rd floor. And the nurse came up and she said, "Would you mind seeing one of the guests down on the 1st floor? He can't walk up the 3 flights of steps." Okay, so I walked down and I got to the bottom of the steps, and there sitting in a chair was a gentleman, probably older appearing than his stated age, who was in obvious breathing difficulties. Standing next to him was his teenage son. They very politely introduced themselves, and the gentleman said, "I used to be part of this program here, but I'm not right now, and I was just wondering if you might be able to help me." Well, after a few brief questions and a pretty focused physical exam, this gentleman was an obvious heart failure. My stethoscope was telling me he probably had valvular heart disease too, and I realized one thing. There was no way I was managing this at the Bethesda Mission Clinic, and this gentleman had to go to the hospital. Easy. So I started to explain it to him, and when I got to the end, and I said, "Don't worry, we'll take care of calling the ambulance, and we'll get this taken care of." And he looked at me and he said, "No." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'm not going." And I thought, well, Ted, you're not communicating well. You got to try this again. So I did, and I got to the end, and he said, "I'm not going." So finally, I got it into my head to say, "Why?" And he said, "I've been a drug addict all my life." He said, "I have a wife and 3 kids, and I decided that I was going to stop." And he said, "I've been working and working and working to get myself out of debt. I live in a station wagon with my wife and 3 kids. He might have had 3 wives, I don't know that. My wife and 3 kids, and he said, we haven't lived in a house for over 2 years. He said, I work in a job. He said, I need to keep that job going. My son is working part-time, and we have to get myself out of debt, and I have to get insurance before I'd ever imagine going to the hospital." So again, I explained to him, and I got to the point where I said, "Sir, you are really sick, and the likelihood is you're going to die if you don't go to the hospital," thinking that that might convince him or his son, and it didn't work. He said, "If you can't help me, I'm going to leave." And I said, "Well, wait a minute." We went up and had to take a few deep breaths and reach into the medicine cabinets there and get the medications that really are required for patients in heart failure, and went downstairs, and without labs or EKG or chest x-ray or any other of our diagnostic devices, I basically said, "Okay, take these medications. I want you to call into the clinic in 2 days. I want you to come back next week, and we'll see what we can do." And he thanked me, and he picked up the medications, and he and his son walked out. Well, that was probably one of the few nights I left the mission not feeling incredibly satisfied. And probably for about the next 48 hours, I didn't sleep a whole lot. We had a phone number that was actually a pay phone, because they couldn't afford a phone, and this was probably before cell phones. I hate to say that. And he did call in, and he said, "I'm doing better." Came back the next week, looked a little bit better. Lost a little weight, not as much fluid, not as much heart failure, so we kept going. So about 3 weeks this continued, and he leveled off pretty well, and I kept saying every time, "You really need to go to the hospital. You really need to go to the hospital." And the final time I saw him, I handed him my card and I said, "Listen, you know, I'm more than happy to keep coming, but you really need to go to the hospital. I think I've done all I can do." So I figured that was it. Lo and behold, about 6 weeks later, I got a call, and when I was in the hospital, I got a page. And one of the emergency room doctors said, "Dr. Ballard, your patient's down here." I said, "Who?" He said, "Your patient, the one you gave your card and told to come in." Well, I had completely forgotten about this. You know, I figured he was going to live or he was going to die, but I wasn't going to see him in the hospital. And I walked downstairs, and he looked at me, and he said, "I'm out of debt, and I got insurance." Well, to make a further long story short, one of our cardiothoracic surgeons came down and said, "How the heck has this guy lived the last 3 months?" He went to the operating room the next day. He had his mitral valve replaced. They did a 3-vessel bypass, and the gentleman was discharged from the hospital within 5 days. Our cardiothoracic surgeon still says that's one of the fastest on record. So I figured Job well done. And that was the last I saw of him. Some 6 months later, I received a note from this gentleman. He stated he was doing well, and he spent the next 3 pages telling me about his family. His son had entered automotive trade school while still holding down a part-time job. His oldest daughter was in community college, the first one to go beyond high school. His youngest daughter had been accepted at a 4-year college and was going to begin the next fall. He was still working, and his wife had started a seamstress business and was quite successful. Oh yeah, and their car, well, unfortunately, broke down to the point that they got rid of it, so they had to get a used van. But he was quick to point out it was no longer his house. He finished with a simple thank you, God bless, and you'll always be in our prayers. No fee was paid, no bonuses earned, no special recognition. But to know that in some small way I helped to make this happen puts being a physician into perspective and is all the thanks I'll ever need. Now, I'm hoping that this class of 2011 will help return us to that 95% rate for career satisfaction. I'm looking forward to interacting with all of you, whether it be in the College of Medicine, whether it be on the wards in the hospital, or at the Bethesda mission. I wish you the best of luck, be well, and to those family members that are leaving Chocolatetown tonight, drive safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ballard, for your inspirational words and sharing that story with us. Now I'd like to introduce Benjamin Goot, who is president of the senior medical school class that will be graduating in May of 2008. Ben hails from Phoenix, Arizona. He attended the University of Arizona and was a 2004 summa cum laude graduate with a major in biology and was elected to Phi Beta Kappa. Since coming to medical school, Ben has enriched our medical campus through his involvement in a number of extracurricular activities, including the student chapter of the American Medical Association, Community Service Day here, and serving on the Commencement Committee and the Multicultural Awareness Group. He has served in a number of leadership positions, including the president and vice president of his class, the co-chair of the Community Service Day, and orientation coordinator and leader. He also organized the Staying Healthy in College workshop for Hershey High School seniors, educating them about nutrition, sexually transmitted disease prevention, drug and alcohol abuse, and common illnesses in college. He currently is involved in a research project investigating the causes of headache and facial pain in a tertiary care center. I've invited him to share his thoughts about the white coat ceremony and how his views of medicine and profession may have changed over the past 3 years. Let's welcome Ben Goot, president of our 4th year class.
First off, I would like to thank Dr. Simons for inviting me to speak to you all at this exciting occasion, your white coat ceremony. I'm really honored to be able to help welcome the next group of students to Penn State's College of Medicine. It is truly an incredible feat just to get this far, and I hope that you're all able to appreciate the significance of this moment. Now, when I look at all of you, I think to myself, man, this has gone quickly. I definitely remember what it feels like to be in your seat, though. The anxiety, the sweating, the fear of the unknown. In fact, I sort of feel like this is equivalent to your first day of school as a small child. Hopefully here there'll be less crying, but this, just like that, was a big step unlike any other you have ever taken. Fear not, though. Many classes just like you have come and gone, and you too will survive. However, it doesn't hurt to get some advice from others along the way. Item 1, and one of the most important, be good to each other. These people sitting around you will become your best friends and confidants for the next 4 years. True, some of you will become those front row gunners, while others may become the back row relaxers or the classroom couples. But you will all be students together. When one of you discovers that secret book or that website that gives you all the answers, be sure to share it with the others. I'll let you in on a little secret that I discovered in my time here. Med school is really tough. However, an awesome thing about Penn State is that it's a non-competitive environment. You will all be encouraged to work together, and whether you like it or not, by the time you're done here, these people will be your family. Item number 2, learn everything that you can. Medicine is an ever-evolving field, and you'll be reading a lot. You will be reading until your eyes hurt, and you are reciting the branches of the brachial plexus in your sleep. Let me give you a hint of how much you'll be reading. I didn't wear glasses when I started here. Understandably, this may scare some of you, but please keep in mind that there is no limit to gaining knowledge here. You're encouraged to ask questions, seek out a mentor, and use the resources available. I can personally guarantee to you that any upperclassman that you meet will be more than happy to help you and answer any questions you may have. Just remember, please don't stop learning. Even for those of you who, like myself, passionately memorize useless sports statistics, movie quotes, and different episodes of my favorite TV show just in case I'm on that pop culture trivia show someday, don't fret, there's still room to fit in medical school. After all, I still remember almost every episode of Saved by the Bell, and I made it this far. Item number 3 is be yourself. Surprisingly, you can change a lot in these next 4 years. Heck, you're going to change a lot in the next 4 days, as this time next week, you're going to smell like formaldehyde, dream about anatomy, and you'll be spending your days coloring on your notes with Dr. Zagon. You can still be yourself, though. If you like to work out, make time to go to the gym. If you like to be creative, then make time to create. I think that the only flaw in a career like medicine is that working so hard you can start to feel like a robot. Just don't let this happen. Always take that time for yourself. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to keep doing it. Look at me, I just admitted to you that I still watch Saved by the Bell. Item number 4, have your moments. I like to call them med school moments. They're those times when you take a step back and you realize to yourself how unbelievable what you're doing. The times when you realize, hey, I'm holding a human heart in my hands, or I just started an IV. In fact, I just had one for myself several weeks ago when I was on OB and I caught my first baby. These are the moments you get excited about having, and trust me, they make all those long days and hard work well worth it. My last piece of advice for you is more of a personal plea. I'd like you to look at those people straight out in front of you. Those people out there are really important. They're your family, they're your friends, your significant others, and at tough moments, they're your strength. Please remember them. I'm sure that you have heard this several times already this week, but that should just enforce to you how important this topic is. These people have stood behind you thus far on your journey, and they will not stop now. When you succeed, they cheer you on, and when things don't go the way you want, they pick you up. Just don't forget that this concept goes the other way too. You've been there for them along their life's journeys, and you can't stop that now. You can vent your frustrations to them, you can describe to them in detail just what you found in your cadaver that day, or you can complain about how hard that test was. Just don't forget to stop and ask them how they're doing. Don't forget, the world does not begin and end with medical school. You're still a person and a member of somebody's support structure, so please do your best to honor that fact. Now, I was once told that when giving any speech, it's pretty important to conclude it with some sort of inspirational quote. So I decided that I wanted to say something to you all that you could think about today, and then again several months from now, when you're going to that lecture after lecture and memorizing reaction after reaction, and it would probably still make sense. So after thinking about it for a while, 2 quotes came to mind. One is from the movie Tommy Boy, and you will all remember that a lot of people go to school for 7 years, but yeah, they're called doctors. First of all, that's a gross underestimation. But second, and most important, it should remind all of you that at the end of this long haul, we will all be called doctors, and that is, at least to me, awesome. Second quote I have, and maybe one that is more useful, is one that my parents actually said to me when I started here. Simply put, they said to me, "Ben, put your head down and go." Right to the point. No amount of thinking or worrying or preparing is going to help you more than the mindset that when it all comes down to it, the easiest thing to do here is just put your head down and go. Go get your dreams. Go become a doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, for sharing your thoughts today with us. Next, I'd like to introduce distinguished members of our faculty who will participate in today's ceremony as cloakers to assist our new students in donning their white coats. Please step forward as I introduce you. David Hahn, Assistant Professor of Surgery and Radiology, Program Director of the Vascular Surgery Fellowship Program, and last but not least, President of the Penn State Alumni Society. Mary Ellen Gussick, Associate Professor of Pediatrics and Associate Dean for Clinical Education. Dr. Christy Lee, Assistant Professor of Medicine and Assistant Clerkship Director in the Department of Medicine. And Dr. Richard Sloan, Director of Medical Education at your hospital, Clinical Professor of Family Medicine, and Associate Dean for Medical Education. And again, let me welcome back to the stage Dr. Hal Paz, our Dean, Senior Vice President for Health Affairs, who will also be greeting our students at the end of the podium. As to the logistics, I will introduce each student as you come forward. The students have already received their instructions. I will ask the audience to hold your applause until all the students are wearing their white coats. Now, although I have attempted to make an earnest effort to get the phonetic spelling and pronunciation of each student's name and hometown, I haven't gotten to meet every student yet. So please excuse my errors that I make and make it a point to correct me during the reception. Shawun Edekanye from Lagos, Nigeria, Lincoln University. Shari Adgerson from Washington, D.C., Iowa State University. Jeffrey Adler from Manhattan, New York, University of Wisconsin at Madison. Bethany Almquist from Sarver, Pennsylvania, Washington and Jefferson College. Wasim Anani from Kentwood, Michigan, the University of Michigan. Uchechi Anyanwu from Nigeria, Liberty University. David Baird from Idaho Falls, Idaho, Brigham Young University. Talay Bakari from Lagos, Nigeria, University of Texas at Arlington. Alyssa Caitlin Baker from Stamford, Connecticut, Mount Holyoke College. Darren Bond from South Orange, New Jersey, Ithaca College. Christina Bess from Valparaiso, Indiana, Indiana University. Emily Bethards, all the way from Hershey, Pennsylvania, University of Virginia. Christopher Bujitsky from Unionville, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Charles Buluth Singhula from Las Vegas, Nevada, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Jonathan Capel from Monroe, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin. Marianne Carrillo from Teaneck, New Jersey, Barnard College. Tanya Carter from Anguilla, the British West Indies, Trent University. Amanda Katoy from Bakerton, Pennsylvania, Juniata College. Matthew Schubat from Hampton, Maine, Juniata College. Suk Yichan from Selangor, Malaysia, Bryn Mawr College. Stephanie Chinsang from Long Island, New York, Penn State University. Garrett Chobe from North Huntington, Pennsylvania, Grove City College. Andrew Christopher from Jakarta, Indonesia, Purdue University. Allison Cleary from Denver, Colorado, University of Colorado. Leslie Ann Collop from Westland, Oregon, University of Oregon. Aaron Conboy from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Grinnell College. Lindsay Cox from Strongsville, Ohio, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Ethan Craig from Hershey, Pennsylvania, University of Rochester. Kevin Curl from Tabernacle, New Jersey, Ursinus College. Donna Lee Daly from Kingston, Jamaica, Vassar College. Glenn DeGuzman from Pocatello, Idaho, Utah State University. Vimal Desai from Santa Clara, California, UCLA. Robert DeSantis from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Grove City College. Emily Dobish from Frederick, Maryland, University of Maryland. Deborah Sarah Dasick from Santa Cruz, California, University of California, San Diego. David Dudek from Algonac, Michigan, the University of Michigan. Elizabeth Dugan from Plainsboro, New Jersey, Michigan State University. Javon Edgecombe from Freeport, Bahamas, Lincoln University. Christopher Edwards from Greene, Ohio, Washington and Jefferson College. Clinton Ellingson from Highland, Utah, the University of Utah. Jeremiah Escajeda from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Washington and Jefferson College. Laura Esconder from Frederick, Maryland, Emory University. Laura Evans from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, Franklin and Marshall College. Amy Ewing from Greensburg, Pennsylvania, the University of Pittsburgh. Lisa Fairman from Du Bois, Pennsylvania, Gannon University. Mina Pham from East Brunswick, New Jersey, Rutgers University. Irina Felatova from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Messiah College. Sergei Felatov from Krasnodar, Russia, Messiah College. Robert Finney from Mars, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Edward Fisher from Seattle, Washington, Whitman College. Galen Folk from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Robert Freed from Suffern, New York, Binghamton University. Ambika Ganesh from Toronto, Canada, University of Waterloo. Brittany Gural from Uniondale, New York, Georgetown University. Evan Grosjean from Glenshaw, Pennsylvania, Allegheny College. Megha Gupta from Fremont, California, University of California, Berkeley. Nicole Haynes from San Diego, California, Johns Hopkins University. Lauren Hale from Warren, Rhode Island, Brown University. Callie Heilig from Leola, Pennsylvania, Vassar College. Giselle Hernandez from Miami Beach, Florida, University of Miami. Bethany Hess from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, Messiah College. Clayton Hess from Orange County, California, Brigham Young University. Joseph Hines from Hanover, Pennsylvania, Elizabethtown College. Christine Hamsha from Nesquehoning, Pennsylvania, College Misericordia. Jessica Hutnick from Marblehead, Massachusetts, Amherst College. Nusreen Hosani from Dallas, Pennsylvania, Wellesley College. Ho Ying Hao from Bethesda, Maryland, the University of Maryland. Nathan Hull from South Jordan, Utah, Brigham Young University. Colin Huntley from Brackney, Pennsylvania, SUNY at Buffalo. Elizabeth Hyde from Rochester, Michigan, the University of Michigan. Zachary Jensen from Price, Utah, the University of Utah. Robert Honko from South Orange, New Jersey, Georgetown University. Timothy Kaminsky from Erie, Pennsylvania, Washington University, St. Louis. Nancy Cove from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Princeton University. Jennifer Kissane from Hershey, Pennsylvania, Georgetown University. Michelle Kondracki from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Dickinson College. Robert Kong from Cupertee, California, University of California, San Diego. Afif Kulaylat from Beirut, Lebanon, Dickinson College. Joshua Lacey from Eldridge, Iowa, Illinois Wesleyan University. Joshua Laird from Dallas, Texas, University of Texas at Austin. Jonathan Lamb from Macungie, Pennsylvania, the University of Pittsburgh. Renee LaRue from Miami, Florida, Loyola University, New Orleans. Key Lee from Tampa, Florida, Northwestern University. Howard Levin from Bensalem, Pennsylvania, Albright College. Yaquan Lin from Taipei, Taiwan, University of Virginia. Charisse Loader from Westhampton, New York, Cornell University. Jerome Karen Liu from Taipei, Taiwan, University of California, Berkeley. Andrew Lutz Cannon from Middletown, Pennsylvania, Lycoming College. Michael Lynch from Olympia, Washington, the University of Washington. Amanda Maloney from Catonsville, Maryland, Gettysburg College. Robin Marzalak from Orland Park, Illinois, the University of Pittsburgh. Brittany Marceri from Monongahela, Pennsylvania, Haverford College. Catherine Matthews from Eldridge, Iowa, St. Ambrose University. Matthew McAuliffe from Arroyo, Colorado, Arizona State University. Greg McCord from Clackamas, Oregon, the University of Oregon. Caitlin McLean from Hockessin, Delaware, McDaniel College. Katie Meadows from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Westminster College. Christopher Milanowski from Bristol, Connecticut, Quinnipiac University. Christopher Miller from Edwards, Washington, Washington State University. Matthew Mall from Rochester, Michigan, Michigan State University. Emily Muley from Annandale, Virginia, University of Pittsburgh. O'Day Nasser from Sacramento, California, California State University in Sacramento. James Nasrella from Titusville, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Matthew Nurdin from Orem, Utah, Brigham Young University. Elizabeth Newhouse from Pendleton, Oregon, Washington State University. Lucas Nickel from Salem, Oregon, Dartmouth College. Stephen Nogan from Butler, Pennsylvania, Grove City College. George O. from Vancouver, Canada, Simon Fraser University. Ann Park from Lexington, Massachusetts, University of Southern California. Kesev Parvatanani from Detroit, Michigan, Wayne State University. Harley Peebles from South Pasadena, California, University of California, Berkeley. Ulana Petrogallo from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Georgetown University. Abigail Podani from Artesia, New Mexico, University of Arizona. Shava Rejai from Ambler, Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania. Ravi Shankar Rao from Thornton, Pennsylvania, the Penn State University. Kimberly Ressler from Fairbanks, Alaska, Albright College. Suzanne Roberts from Alexandria, Virginia, Middlebury College. Amy Rogers from Essex Junction, Vermont, University of Vermont. Megan Rogers from Dallastown, Pennsylvania, Temple University. Jeffrey Rowan from York, Pennsylvania, Franklin and Marshall College. Sarah Ryder from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Wilkes University. Rebecca Jo Sangri from Landisburg, Pennsylvania, Moody Bible Institute. Patrick Schneider from Mars, Pennsylvania, Vassar College. Molin Shaw from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Northwestern University. Marie Shaner from Durango, Colorado, Bryn Mawr College. Jody Sharma from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Aaron Shedlock from North Huntington, Pennsylvania, University of Virginia. Amir Shirkat from Columbia, Maryland, University of Maryland, Baltimore. Emily Sieg from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Carnegie Mellon University. Antea Singleton from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, St. Joseph's University. Edward Serlin from Hanover, New Hampshire, St. Lawrence University. Brandon Sumtana from San Francisco, California, Cornell University. Erica Smallsick from Lewistown, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Joanna Song from La Canada, California, UC Berkeley. Michelle Spaziani from Horseheads, New York, SUNY at Binghamton. Matthew Stevens from Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, St. Francis University. Stephanie Sullivan from Gaithersburg, Maryland, Penn State University. Trish Sump from Hilltown, Pennsylvania, Lafayette College. Layrabe Tubba from Buena Park, California, Johns Hopkins University. Lauren Toshima from Santa Cruz, California, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Jeffrey Thibodeau from Hershey, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Bradford Tinloy from San Francisco, California, Columbia University. Kristen Tobin from Naperville, Illinois, Villanova University. Christina Tofani from Pennsauken, New Jersey, LaSalle University. Yvonne Choi from Toronto, Canada, Cornell University. Fatima Touré from Savannah, Georgia, Yale University. Kavita Vakarie from Upland, California, University of Pennsylvania. Nikki Waldstein from Ashland, Massachusetts, New York University. Christopher Weller from Elizabethville, Pennsylvania, Ursinus College. Kevin Whitworth from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. Emmanuel Yakub from Rutherford, New Jersey, Rutgers University. David Yoder from York, Pennsylvania, University of Pittsburgh. Jeffrey Yershaw from Pottsville, Pennsylvania, Penn State University. And last but not least, Tony Zhang from Toronto, California, the University of Toronto. Well, class of 2011, it's your turn. I'd like you to stand and recognize your family and friends for supporting you thus far in your careers. You may be seated. And now Dr. Dwight Davis, Professor of Medicine in the Division of Cardiology and Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Affairs, will administer the Hippocratic Oath. Any physicians in the audience who would like to renew their oath are invited to join in. Will the class of 2011 please rise?
Inside your coat pockets should be a program, and if you open it, you'll come to the Hippocratic Oath. May I ask that any physician in the audience who would like to participate in this part of the ceremony, please rise now and read with me. By all that I hold highest, I promise my patients competence, integrity, candor, personal commitment to their best interests, compassion, and absolute discretion and confidentiality within the law. I shall do by my patients as I would be done by, shall obtain consultation whenever I or they desire, shall include them to the extent they wish in all important decisions, and shall minimize suffering whenever a cure cannot be obtained, understanding that a dignified death is an important goal in everyone's life. I shall try to establish a friendly relationship with my patients and shall accept each one in a non-judgmental manner, appreciating the validity and worth of different value systems and according to each person a full measure of human dignity. I shall charge only for my professional services and shall not profit financially in any other way as a result of the advice and care I render my patients. I shall provide advice and encouragement for my patients in their efforts to sustain their own health. I shall work with my profession to improve the quality of medical care and to improve the public health, but I shall not let any lesser public or professional consideration interfere with my primary commitment to provide the best and most appropriate care available to each of my patients. To the extent that I live by these precepts, I shall be a worthy physician. So on behalf of the College of Medicine, our faculty, and all members of our institution, I welcome the entering class of 2007 to your medical education. Please give us a round of applause. You may be seated.
Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Alan Bedrick, class of 1977 and president of the Penn State College of Medicine Alumni Society, to welcome our newest students. Dr. Bedrick received his baccalaureate degree in biology from Penn State in 1974 and his medical degree from the College of Medicine in 1978. He served his pediatric residency at the University of Arizona in Tucson and then fellowship training at the State University of New York at the Upstate Medical Center in neonatology. Currently, he's the chief of the section of neonatology at the Franklin Square Hospital in Baltimore and serves on the teaching faculty at both Johns Hopkins and the University of Maryland. However, in November, he's going to return to the University of Arizona to be the professor of clinical pediatrics and chief of the section of neonatology in Tucson. So please let me welcome Dr. Bedrick, who has some remarks for our new students.
Good afternoon, everyone. The evening's running a little bit late, so I'll try and make my comments brief. I would like to take a moment to thank Dr. Paz and Dr. Simons for inviting me to represent the Penn State College of Medicine Alumni Society at this white coat ceremony, an occasion that is one of many Penn State traditions. To the members of the class of 2011, we did meet earlier this week, and welcome again to the Penn State family. Today will be among the most memorable of experiences and events as your medical careers commence. Doctors first wore white coats in the late 19th century to protect patients and physicians from cross-contamination. However, through the decades, the white coat has become a symbol of the science of medicine and the art of healing. The white coat is our commitment that we assume responsibilities that go along with the privilege of a medical education. There are few things more sacred than the doctor-patient relationship, and the donning of your white coat will serve to make you aware of these responsibilities. Yes, even from the very first day of medical school. By wearing the white coat, we commit to be excellent in science, to lead lives that are righteous and full of honor, and importantly, to be compassionate with our patients. The white coat means not only that we cure, but also that we care. This Penn State College of Medicine commits to you to provide the best medical education that this country has to offer. I am a member of the class of 1978, and I arrived on this campus in 1974. Many of my professors and teachers are in this very room, and they will teach you as well. The faculty at this College of Medicine, I can guarantee you, are second to none. Society has entrusted us with the well-being of our peoples and our populations. To that end, we assume a stature of responsibility, and we must be careful of the potential power that it wields. As we wear our white coats, we are representing our patients' rights. Patients need to trust us. We need to be compassionate and demonstrate high moral integrity and intellectual honesty. For the families and friends of these future physicians, a few comments. A medical education is indeed a huge undertaking, not just financially, but personally. Yes, it requires extraordinary effort and dedication on the part of the student. And every student brings something special to this class of 2011. Some unique quality or talent which adds to the diversity of the Penn State Hershey student body. But please do not forget, a medical education is not an individual endeavor, but it is truly a family commitment and also a family stress test. The Penn State College of Medicine Alumni Society has made a vow and a pledge to support students and their families through these very exciting and at times trying years. We pledge to be a resource for medical students and their families, not only during these years at Hershey, but beyond. So to our new students, please accept our society's heartfelt congratulations. Welcome to the profession of medicine. We as alumni are here for you, and if you need us, call call us, and we will do our best to help you in any way that we can. Please take a look in your coat pockets for a special welcome from the Alumni Society. Many of you are already alumni of the Pennsylvania State University. In 4 years, you will all become alumni of this great university. Let me end by just citing some poignant words spoken by Dr. Eric Walker, then president of the Pennsylvania State University, as he was addressing the class of 1958 at University Park. Dr. Walker said, "Wherever you go, Penn State will go with you. You are now a part of her. Her image will be cast in your image. Your reputation will become her reputation, and her future, her ability to prepare future generations of men and women for leadership in our complex society will be determined in part by the image that you create." Dr. Walker's words are just as embracing today as they were nearly 50 years ago. And pride in Penn State is something that never fades. You can see it in the faces of Penn Staters everywhere. So always remember that you are Penn State. Thank you very much.
In closing, I would like to give special thanks and recognition to the staff, the Office of Student Affairs, the Office of Medical Education. A very special thanks to Diane Forrest and Dan O'Donnell for putting this all together and making it a wonderful afternoon. I also want to recognize our musicians, Dr. Shanti Savandran on the violin and Dr. Lorraine Rosmilla on the piano. Again, to our first-year students, welcome to Penn State. And after the close of the ceremony, we'll have a reception adjacent to this room. So please stay, introduce yourself. We're anxious to meet you. I will ask our students now to rise. Please remain seated until the students have exited from the auditorium.